Hey, it's Mr. Kabbalah. This is going to be a geometry castle assignment called Distance, Midpoint, and Partition Review. Hopefully this answers some questions, or if you have any questions, email me, let me know, and we can sort them out. Okay, Joy.
I'm going to be doing the odd numbers only from this castle assignment. Question 1, I think we've had a couple times, various places. Notice AB is congruent to DB. It also mentions that DB is a median. A median connects a vertex to the midpoint, so this point B is the midpoint of that AC side, which means that AB, this section here, is the same size as BC. This has a tick mark, so we're going to put the same tick mark there. So imagine, if this is 8, then this would be 8, then this would also be 8, just to kind of put numbers with it. So what else? If DAB is 32 degrees, we want to find BDC. BDC is this one right here. All right, so if you notice, this triangle here has two sides that are the same, which means that if this is 32, then this angle here is 32. Okay, which means that this angle here, which would be ABD, would be 32 plus 32, and then 180 minus that, so minus 64, 116 degrees. Now that can also give us the one next to it. It's a linear pair. They're on a straight line. So that means that this angle is 64 degrees, which means that, and if you'd notice then, this triangle has two sides that are the same, here and here, which means that these two angles that I'm highlighting right now, excuse me, those two angles are the same. So they would be 180 minus 64, which is 116. But then because both of them are the same, we're going to divide that by 2, and that turns out to be 58 degrees. And we're looking for this one right here, so that's one of the ones that is choice number 3, 58 degrees. Question 3, AC and BD intersect at E. Which information is always sufficient to prove that the two triangles are congruent? So we know that this angle here and this angle here are the same because they're vertical. Now, if we're told, or we figure out that AB and CD are parallel, would that be enough? Well, that means that we'd have alternate interior angles that are congruent, but that would only give us that three angles are the same, and angle, angle, angle is not one of our triangle congruency theorems. Excuse me. What if we were told that AB is congruent to CD? So what if we were told this is congruent to this? And BE, this, is congruent to DE, this. Well, that would give us an angle and then a side and then a side, angle, side, side. And that spells a naughty word. And that is not one of our triangle congruence theorems. So the naughty word cannot be used. So it's not 1, it's not 2. What if E is the midpoint? So let me get rid of these markings. If E is the midpoint of AC, well then what we know is that this and this are the same, and that's it. It's only side angle and not one of our triangle congruence theorems. So that means it's got to be number 4. But just to kind of go through it, it says BD and AC bisect each other, which means that we would know that these are congruent pieces, and we'd have side, angle, side. So it's got to be number 4. All right, question 5. What is an equation of the perpendicular bisector of the line segment shown in the diagram? So perpendicular bisector would have negative reciprocal slope. So it looks like this has a slope of rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we went up 8, but we went left 4, so that's negative 4. So this has a slope of negative 2 over 1, or just negative 2. The one that would be perpendicular to it would be it would have a slope of, so the slope of perpendicular would be flip it and change its sign so that it's 1/2. Well, which of these has a slope of 1/2? For choice 1, if we subtract 2x, we get y is equal to negative 2x. We're looking for the number next to x to be 1/2, not that one. Okay, if we add 2x, we get y is equal to 2x. Again, we're looking for half x. For choice number 3, if we subtract the x, we get 2y is equal to negative x. And then if we divide by 2, we get y is equal to negative x divided by 2. That's the same as negative 1/2 x. We're looking for half x. So for choice 4, if we add x, we get 2y is equal to x. If we divide by 2, we get y is equal to x divided by 2, which is 1/2 x. That's choice number 4. Question 7. C is the midpoint of segment ABD. D is the midpoint of CB, and E is the midpoint of DB. If A is located at negative 10, 14, and B is located at 8, negative 2, what are the coordinates of point E? Interesting. So we have A is, what did it tell us? Negative 10, 14. All right, B is at 8, negative 2. So C is the midpoint of those. So negative 10, 14, midpoint, which is going to be point C, and then B is 8, negative 2. All right, now there's tons of ways to do this. I'm going to go negative 10 to 8 is up 18. So I'm going to go half that distance, so up 9. Negative 10 up 9 takes me to negative 1. 14 to negative 2 is down 16, so half of that is down 8. 14 minus 8 is 6. So C is at negative 1, 6. We want to find point E. Well, now we can do the same thing to find point D. Now that we know that C is at negative 1, 6, we'd have midpoint D and the other endpoint B. And we can go a little faster now. That's up 9, 4.5. So 3.5, comma. That's down 8, down 4. So 2. So 3.5, comma 2. All right, and then E would be halfway between D and B. So we got 3.5, comma 2, midpoint E. Oop. And then B is at 8, negative 2. So that's, excuse me, up 4.5. And then half of 4.5 is 1.75. No, I misspoke. Let me make sure I'm going to. 2.25. So we're going to go up 2.25 to 5.75. This is down 4, so we're going to go down 2 to 0. So 5.750. There might be an easier way to do that, but I took maybe the long way. If you find a different way or an easier way, maybe share that with people. This is one. M is the midpoint of AB if the coordinates of M are 2, 8, and the coordinates of A are 10, 12. So we've got A. We're told the midpoint is 2, 8. And then the other endpoint is we don't know. So for this one, we went down 8 and down 4. So we just repeat that again to get the other endpoint. So 2 minus 8, negative 6. 8 minus 4 is 4, so negative 6, 4. Okay, question 11. Center of a circle if the endpoints of its diameter are 8, negative 4, and negative 3, 2. That means the center would be the midpoint between these two. So then midpoint and B. That's down 11. That's up 6. So up 3 and up, I'm sorry, down 5.5. So that would take this to 2.5. And negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So choice number 2. Number 13, we want to partition AC to CB so that it's 2 to 1. Well, 2 plus 1 is 3. So we're going to have 3 total sections. So starting with A, we have negative 8, 4. Then 1, 2. Then the third section ends at the other endpoint 10, negative 2. All right, so again, thinking 3 sections, negative 8 to 10 is up 18. If we divide that by 3 sections, this side's going to go up by 6. 4 down to negative 2 is down 6. Divide that into 3 sections. This side's going to go down by 2. So negative 8 up 6, negative 2, up 6 again to 4, up 6 again to 10. That makes sense. 4 down 2 to 2, down 2 again to 0, down 2 again to negative 2, and we are looking for the second one, so 4, 0 is choice number 4. All right, question 15. Y equals mx plus b passes through the point 1, 6 and is parallel to 4x plus 6. What is the value of b? So what we can do here, this is going to tell us the slope. The slope is 4. Now we're going to use the point slope form because we have a 0.16 that we want to go through, and we have a slope, point slope. So we're going to do y minus the y value of the point we want to go through, so 6, the slope we want to use, and then x minus the x value of the point we want to go through. So we want the value of b, so we got to put this so that it looks like y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to distribute 4x minus 4, and then add 6. So y is equal to 4x plus 2. This is asking what is the value of b? B equals 2. 17. Determine and state the length of a line segment whose endpoints are 6, 4, and negative 9, negative 4. Now it doesn't really tell us in terms of what, so we'll kind of do everything. All right, 6 down to negative 9 is down 15. 4 to negative 4 is down 8. And then for distance, the length or distance, I'm going to plug these into the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is 225. This is 64. This is 289. So it's going to be the square root of 289, which actually gives us a whole number, 17. Question 19. If circle Q passes, so the center is at 3, -2. It passes through 7, 1. What is the length of the diameter? Well, if we find the length from 3, -2 to 7, 1, we'll find the length of the radius. So that's 4, that's up 3. So plugging this into the Pythagorean theorem, which maybe you notice this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, but if you don't, go through this whole process. Right, so the radius is 5, which means the diameter is twice that, 10. Question 21. Length of RS with R -2, 3 and S 4, 5. So this is up 6, this is up 2. Plug it into the Pythagorean theorem. 36 plus 4 is 40. So it's the square root of 40. Well, that's not a choice. It's not going to be number 2. So one thing you could do is go to your calculator. Let's type in the square root of 40. And I get 6.324 on and on. Let's go through our choices. So 2 radical 2. My guess is no, but 2 radical 2. That said radical z. All right, so 40 radical 2 times 2. Nope. The next choice was 2 radical 10. 2 radical 10. Hey, there it is. Now, could you do that by hand? Of course you could. But I think it's easier with a calculator. All right, 23, the last one I'm going to do for this one. Which type of triangle can be drawn using the points -2, 3? I'm going to actually plot this out. -2, 3. -2, -7. 5, 6, 7. And 4, -5. So roughly there's our triangle. Now, obviously, it's not going to be number 4 because we can draw a triangle. You see it right there. Now, just by looks, my guess would be isosceles because it has two. It looks like it has 2 sides that are pretty much the same length. But let's find out for sure. So -2, 3, -2, -7. Distance of 0. Distance down 10. So 0 squared plus -10 squared is c squared, so that's 100 equals c squared. So this side is 10. All right, let's do, I'll change color. Let's do from -2, 7, I'm sorry, -2, 3 to this one, 4, -5. This is up 6, down 8. So 6 squared plus -8 squared is c squared. That turns out to be 100 again. Square root of 100 is 10. So that is 10. Now, that means we at least have an isosceles. Now we should, to do everything, we should go from 4, -5 to -2, -7, and make sure that that's not 10 as well. I don't think it is, but it's down 6, down 2. So -6 squared plus -2 squared. That gives us 40 as the c squared. So that's the square root of 40, which is clearly not the same as 10. So it's going to be an isosceles triangle. Do a bit more work than you might need, but that's not bad. All right, hopefully you're doing all right. Hopefully this has helped. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully we'll see you soon.